Welcome back to Face the State. I'm Ariana Bennett. Thank you for staying with us. 70,000 people will flock to the Black Rock Desert this August for Burning Man 2017. Now, the event is so popular that the main sale for tickets this year sold out in half an hour. So I'm back with Burning Man founding board member Mikel. Mikel, thank you once again for coming on the show. All right, so what do we got this year? Radical Ritual, that's the theme?
Radical Ritual is the theme this year.
What does that mean?
Well, we're going to look at the way that people have rituals and what they mean and explore that idea through art and through activities and explore the idea of rituals. We really, in our world, we don't have enough rituals, I believe, and I think it's fun to explore the idea.
I think it's interesting that Burning Man itself, for many people, has become a ritual.
Indeed.
Over 31 years.
Yes,
I mean, for people who have been going year after year after year, there is some ritualized elements to it, especially when we talk about the temple burn, I think is maybe the most ritualistic.
Yes, there are a number of events that happen, reoccurring events. The temple, certainly on the last night of the event, is a ritual. It's kind of a sacred ritual that everybody respects. And even the man burn, wild and crazy it is, with fireworks going off, is a ritual in effect.
All right, so can you give us any hints about what will be out on the playa this year? We give large grants to artists. I think we're at about $1 million right now. And that's another department, which I'm not necessarily dealing with. But there will be a lot of art out there. And a lot of local artists, too. Yeah, which is really cool, and then sometimes that art comes back to Reno and makes its home in our public spaces. We're seeing it pop up on the Riverwalk. We've seen it downtown Plaza, I believe, now downtown.
There's so much Burning Man art in Reno. It's really amazing to see that, and wonderful to see that myself. And last year, the Mind of Da Vinci, there was a large head of Leonardo da Vinci, was created by an artist here in Reno. And it was at the Burning Man event last year. And it's currently being displayed at UNR on the campus. And that statue has been acquired by the city of Carson City. So it's going down to Carson City. So that's going to be a lot of fun down there.
Oh, that's cool. So is there anything different happening this year? Anything new that hasn't been done structurally before?
I don't think there's anything really new. We're continually fine-tuning the event and how it works.
What are the biggest difficulties to putting on a successful, safe event?
We have things and processes in place for managing the event. I think one of the biggest organizations within, volunteer organization within Burning Man is the Black Rock Rangers. I started that in 1992, way back in the early days when it was wide open, and we basically did search and rescue in those early days. And there were only 6 of us, and we were connected with radios, and we would go out and find people and bring them back to the camp. Today, the Black Rock organization numbers about 800 volunteers. And they will go through the community, they will look after people, help people solve problems, and generally take care of the community.
Which I imagine is needed because it really is a harsh environment. If you're not fully prepared for the playa, it's, you know, like hot temperatures during the day, the dryness, cold at night.
You need to bring your own food and water for sure.
And it can be disorienting, especially if the dust picks up.
Yes, we've learned how to survive though, even in those harsh dust storms.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Not just survive, but really like create this kind of amazing, bizarre alien landscape. It really is.
Yeah, the dust storms are kind of magical in a way. They add an ambiance to the event, and people realize how powerful that nature is, that it can create this whole swirling form of dust and change all your plans.
Yeah. So speaking of nature and possibly changing plans, we've had, you know, flooding and a ton of water from this winter, and it's turned the playa right now into a lake. We actually were able to send our drone camera out to the playa to take a look at everything, and it's
full of water, as
Why,
you can see
it's
right
like
now.
Lake Lahontan.
Right, exactly. So is this a concern for you that it's going to be wet or muddy?
This is more water than has been seen a lot of time. I've talked to some of the old timers, and they say that 1983 was the last time that there was this much water in there. But the desert it's very hot out there, and with the winds that blow across it, I think we're going to be just fine.
So is there any amount of water or environmental problem that could prevent the event from happening?
There's always possibility of that happening, and we're always ready to make adjustments and work on contingency plans to make sure that Burning Man happens in one way or the other.
What would be the contingency plan?
I'm not at liberty to say right now.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. All right, so what else? What else about this year? If for people who maybe have never been or are considering going, what do they need to know?
We have a lot of people who've never been. We actually manage the ticket process to make sure that there's a balanced ratio between the veterans who are experienced and the new people. So it's a process of enculturation where the veterans teach the new people how to be there, how to take care of themselves, and teach them our principles.
All right. Pro tips. You obviously have been to every burn. You said, was it 28 years?
Yes, 28 years.
What would be the advice you would give? What do
Well,
people need
first
to
of
know?
all, for artists and people who are doing projects, just always roll with it, no matter what happens. People have an idea of what it should be or what they're going to do, and then something gets in the way, the weather or timing or something breaks down, and just go with it. I've seen more than one time where the man's arms didn't come up or one arm broke, and just go with it. It's
or
fun.
someone set it on fire early.
Ah, yes, yes. It's a lot of fun things like that happen.
I guess that's kind of the point to
Yes.
experience the moment, right?
Right.
All right. Anything else for newbies that you would want them to know?
Make sure you drink plenty of water and start drinking water before you arrive on playa.
Oh, good call.
That's a good.
Okay. What about in your 28 burns? Do you have a favorite memory?
I have a lot of burns, which were, I guess, kind of my favorite, and those peak moments where I would see something come out of the dust that was just magical. Or even in situations, I got stuck in a dust storm one time. I was driving my truck, the dust came over, couldn't move, parked, and all of a sudden I see these figures come up to my door, and it's a couple of friends from the crew, and we got 4 people in this cab of this pickup truck. But luckily we had a fifth of vodka and a can of orange juice, so we had a great time.
Yeah, I think when I was out there, it was dusty. I was walking around covering it for work, and there was this giant Trojan horse that just appeared out of the dust, and it was a bar.
Oh, yes.
It was a bar on the Trojan horse.
Yeah.
And it just appeared out of nowhere, which is kind of how it is. The scope of the event is so huge that you can just stumble upon things without realizing it's there.
The scale of the art has increased tremendously since the early days. And that's what I think is incredible. Large structures with bars in them in some cases, and some of the most amazing things.
Absolutely. Okay, we've got a couple minutes left, and I understand you've got some exhibits and things that people, even if they can't make it out to the playa, they can still kind of take part.
What's really interesting is coming up this year is that the Nevada Museum of Art here in Reno is going to mount a major Burning Man exhibit starting on July 1st, and it's going to run for about 6 months. And it's going to cover the history of Burning Man and art of Burning Man. And I think that's going to be a really wonderful exhibit and not to be missed.
Okay. Anything else you want the public to know? I mean, it's not every day we get to speak with a founder of Burning Man.
I say that everybody comes to Burning Man when it's their time. So whether they're wanting to go and they haven't got a ticket yet, or where they're thinking, no, that's not for me, maybe too dusty, the time will come when everybody will get a chance to go to Burning Man.
And for those who think, I just don't think I'm interested, or there's not something out there for me?
there's something for everyone at Burning Man.
Definitely.
Something to experience or something to learn.
Okay. Michael, thank you so much for coming on the
you.
show. It was a pleasure to have you. Well, that is it for this episode of Face the State. But for more information on all of this or to see past episodes, you can just head to our website. That's ktvn.com. Thank you so much for being with us. We'll see you next week.